All right. Cool. Okay, everything appears to be in order, from what I can tell. Alright, we got some work to do. Gotta set up the second half of October's stuff. Why am I doing this? I can just do that. Infinitely easier. Clearly I use my brain. You can really tell that I use my brain. Really just, there we go. Getting right into it because there's a thunderstorm outside, so no telling when the internet's gonna go kaput. If it does, you know, there's always the chance that it doesn't and everything works out just fine. Also, my right arm is really sore today. I don't know if it's because I've been spending a bit too much time at this chair lately. I do tend to favor my right arm leaning on it a bit more than my left. Just how I sit. Also, it's the arm that does the most work while I'm editing because it's the one that uses the mouse. Left arm just has to sit there and every now and then hit a key. It's weird. I've been thinking that I need to play a Legend of Zelda game again. I don't know why, but I've been feeling like replaying Twilight Princess for some reason. It's not my favorite, but it's not bad. I am really suffering from my own stupidity on this one. See, I wanted to be a bit more prepared and like, well, what's the thing that I usually don't do as much on stream? Well, that's, you know, watching through and doing audio checks and whatnot. So like, you know what, I'll do that off stream, and then when we're on stream we can just focus on doing the stuff I usually work on stream, and there you go. Turned out that not a good idea. Because, boy, does it create big headaches. For example, you can see that some of this stuff is chopped up. That's because this is all swear words. Which means it's gonna be a bit more of a pain to do certain things. Really should have thought that one through a bit better, but I did not. So here we are, suffering because of my stupidity. Not thinking this one through as well as I should have. But hey, you know, lessons learned and all that. Now that I know that's an issue, it's not a mistake I'm likely to make a second time. And sometimes that's valuable in and of itself. Just adds to my experience. Yeah, so the people that there are a few people that do clips of Sylvie who really like using emojis and other symbols in the titles, which are not recognized by, you know, most other things. Just interesting. Not a big deal. Doesn't really change much. Now, I am going to need to double check one thing. I think I remember how the process goes, but it's brand new, so refreshing my memory is always good. Whoops. Alright, don't need to do that. It's the last one. Okay. So, what we're gonna do is we're going to pull open this one. Now, part of the process, most of the process remains the same. grab the two clips, squish them back together, reverse the speeds, add in the sound effect, but I'm now adding in this radial blur. If you remember from, not last week, because the rain stopped me from streaming last week, the week prior, I experimented with, or explored a lot of the new effects and things that the Adobe added, including the radial blur transition. I'm also experimenting with adding a bit more background music. For example, if there's a lot of clips in a row that don't have any background sound, like Vivi has her music set up so that it does not go into the VOD unless she's playing a game. And I think if there's a few streamers that do that as well, but this way I'm able it. Too many clips without background music can feel disorienting, so I add a little bit of music in the background. Otherwise, I'll leave it as is. So, wonder if I can just copy that. Let's find out, shall we? I can. Very nice. I should probably turn on the display capture so you can see all of the extra stuff. Speed duration, reverse speed. Oh, I forgot to delete that. And just a refresher slash thing for anybody new, the reason why I reversed the speed is because it tends to, not really sure why, but to me it looks a little cleaner in the transition. It could just be a personal opinion. People could easily disagree, but to me, it makes some of the transitions look a little smoother. Is it really necessary when we're using, you know, this? No. But I mean, we could. Okay, yeah, there's a second reason why I do it. It does allow me to actually. This wasn't as big of an issue before, because what I used to do is I would have, so you can see on here, it's set up with adjustment layers so that I don't need to worry about the clip length not being, or, well, here. Since the clip starts here, this is the very beginning of the video, there's nothing that comes before this. This is the very beginning. So when you try to add a transition to it, like this, it will automatically put the whole thing right here because there's nothing back here to work with. There's nothing. So, and often if this is the end of this clip, it's the same problem. There's nothing at the end, so there's nothing to work with. This one was just trimmed at the end, so a lot of them are trimmed at the end. Anyway. So instead, we reverse the speed. That way, there's all of this stuff at the beginning and all of this stuff at the end of this one. And behold, it all just works as it is meant to. Is a little bit in the way of me hitting Control V. Da, da, da. Just want to avoid any of those little audio pops that tend to happen with certain editing software like Premiere. A lot of people have their different methods for resolving the audio pop issue. I particularly like just doing the one frame fade here, or it's constant power fade, but other methods include extending this out like this, and you can go in and you can grab this and do that, or well, no, do that, which works fine, but there's more steps, so I find my method to be a little bit faster and more efficient. Just move the keyboard up. There we go. Now I have finger room. Whoop. While I've got it copied, I might as well, use it. I noticed that Grape recently started doing streams playing Halo or something, I believe. I think it's the first Halo game. I'm not entirely sure. I don't remember. I know I looked, but my memory is not great. So I've immediately forgotten. But she played around with some settings on her model or something to make her look all Cortana hologrammy, and it's pretty cool. I'm kind of glad I got out of the big content creation game, just do occasional streams, because I don't know what I would be doing. You've got a few territories you can stick to. There's obviously is doing VTubing IRL stream is not the area I would go into. There's reaction content, which I don't have that much confidence in my knowledge and intelligence to start throwing around opinions and whatnot on reaction content. I also don't think I'm talkative enough to make it transformative enough to feel okay about the free use stuff, fair use or whatever. Then there's gaming, but that's what vast majority of people do, so trying to get an audience out of that is a lot harder. And again, it's a lot about luck. Very much about talent, personality, and entertainment value, but also luck. I've been forgetting to do the speed duration thing. That's what I've been forgetting. Ah, doesn't really matter. I'll just go back and do it. Nope, I already did it for that one. Okay, maybe I haven't been forgetting. I just apparently forgot that I remembered. And where did... What in the world? Whatever. So how I created this is basically I went through and I started going to these random seeds, and it went through, started at 1, started going up, and like I landed on, I think it was number 4 or number 7, one of the two that looked all right, and then I hit number 13. Is like, oh, this looks great, I'm gonna go with this. And I just left it at 13. I might play around with it at a future date, but like the number goes up to like over 100,000 or something, so you know, it would take a long time to go through all of the different options. One by one. Come on. Whoops. I don't have a whole lot of random topics to blab about this time around. This week was very much about working on commission stuff. It's pretty much all I ended up working on all week long. More and more often, it seems like the only other random topics to blab about are just all about drama this or complain that. And by complain, I'm usually talking about like movies, TV shows, or other games, other entertainment stuff that just does not meet even the most basic of expectations. I believe the new Tron movie came out. I have not seen it. I do not plan to see it. I have heard nothing good about it. Okay, that's not entirely true. I've heard that it's great in terms of spectacle, visual effects, and whatnot, and music. I don't remember what the crap the name of the band is, because for the last one, Tron Legacy, I believe it was what, Daft Punk or something. It was basically, the movie was like one big advertisement for them, and it seems like they kind of did a similar thing here. But story-wise, you know, the thing that I actually care about when watching a movie, unless I'm just, you know, really in the mood for a B tier, shut your brain off and watch things go boom, which I suppose Tron Ares would work for, or could work for, potentially. Depends on how stupid the story is. I've heard it's pretty bad, but I have not seen it, so I can't fully judge it. I don't know. I really liked the original Tron when I was a kid. Thought it was a phenomenal movie. And Tron Legacy was not the worst thing in the world, but I definitely felt like it was carried by spectacle a bit more than I would have liked. I've also heard that if you're expecting any continuations of you know, some of the classic or not classic, but a continuation of story elements from the original or legacy, you're probably not going to enjoy it much. Apparently they seem to have taken out quite a bit, or just retconned or flat out ignored. Honestly, it's Disney, so it's not like I have high hopes for anything they make. It's the company that butchered Star Wars. Obviously, I'm not going to have any high hopes for them. You know what I really want in stories to be brought back? Actual villains. I'm getting really, really, really tired of the typical humanization of villains. I don't care what your backstory is. I don't care what your motivations were. You're supposed to be the bad guy and do bad guy things. Like, stop trying to make me feel sorry for or relate to all of the bad guys. It's annoying. The most I want to care about motivation or backstory is when a villain fully just accepts their role as a villain and does their villain stuff. Or at least make it interesting. Seems like there are two types of commonly seen villains in the modern writing sphere. Type number one, which I feel is the most common, is villain who went through tragic backstory and is actually not really a bad guy. They're just misunderstood and a tortured soul, and you should feel sorry for them. Which is so patronizing and annoying. Number two is character who's not really a villain, air quotes villain, but is more just like a schoolyard bully. They say mean words and they're a jerk for no reason. Though to be fair, that type of villain is phenomenal as a punching bag. That's always fun. I guess there is a third. It's just that it can be blend. It crosses into the second. It's kind of like the Venn diagram or whatever. Or option three is someone or something that's supposed to be good, but turns out to actually be evil. So, you know, the whole, oh, the bad guys are actually the good guys, and the good guys are actually the bad guys. Whoa! It stopped being clever a long time ago. It's most commonly seen in a lot of stories. I don't really, well, I watch mostly Japanese and Korean based stuff these days, it seems. But for those stories, you see it largely in those stories where you know, somebody isekais into a fiction world, usually as the villain or a side character, and they meet the hero of the novel, video game, whatever, and they're like, oh, it's my favorite character, the person who's supposed to be the good guy and whatnot, and then there's like, oh yeah, no, it turns out they're pure evil. Oh, okay. It's like, surprise, you were supposed to be the good guy all along, and the hero was always the villain. Or the hero doesn't like the villain, so they decide to become a villain while the villain is trying to turn a new leaf or whatever. And one of the most common that I've noticed is if there's a particular organization, be it like Adventurers Guild, which is a lot less common, obviously, but more common would be like a religious organization, the church or whatever, and it's usually just called the church because, you know, nobody's all that creative creating those kind of world building religious orders and whatnot. But those kind of organizations that are supposed to be commonly good will turn out to be either corrupted by individuals within the organization that are evil, or the entire organization as a whole and its beliefs and everything are actually evil the entire time. And it's like, oh no, these people are supposed to care about people and be the good guys, but they're actually evil. Wow, who could have guessed? I will say the one where it's like, here's the main character of this novel world that you've found yourself in. Surprise, they're actually a complete and total jerk, and they're secretly evil the whole time. That one is getting so overdone that I am at the point where if I am watching a show and I see that trope is what they're going with, I will stop right then and there. I will not watch a single second longer. I will not give it a second chance. I will not give it a second episode. I do not care. I am sick and tired of that trope. It is so annoying. Particularly, it's even better because it usually ends up doubling up with that character is actually like the saint or some with a crazy healing powers or blessed by some deity or something. So then it ends up coinciding with, oh, surprise, the church is evil the whole time. Wow, it's just 2 in 1. It's a twofer. And it's just like, okay, now it's just extra annoying. Come up with a unique, at least it doesn't have to be completely original, but you know, at least something beyond just a rehash of a crappy trope. I honestly don't know. I couldn't tell you which one is worse. The villain who they overemphasize the humanizing of and really try to make sure that you feel sympathetic towards them, or the person who's supposed to be a good guy but it turns out to be a bad guy. I'm not sure which one I hate more, because they're both really annoying. Really, really annoying. I suppose story-wise, the hero that turns out to be a villain, the good guy that turns out to be a bad guy, is the most annoying. In terms of watching a show, I would say that the overly humanizing a villain would be more annoying, solely because a lot of the time when a villain is overly humanized, it involves a lot of backstory, whether it's exposition dumps in dialogue or long or repetitive flashbacks, and that just gets annoying to watch. So I guess both could be the worst, just depends on the situation. I try not to be too judgmental because, you know, it's not like I've ever actually published anything. Wow, a lot of people I know all went live in the 2 minutes ago, this person went live. 1 minute ago, this person went live. Right now, this person's okay. I'm getting a lot of Twitch notifications. A lot of people streaming right now. I did try to play around with this part as well. I believe it's back here somewhere. Here we go. I tried creating this kind of thing, and I tried adding some different transitions to it, but ultimately decided to not go with this because it makes no sense on shorter clips, and it's the same with this one, which I think is visually, well, is good. The problem is that what if a clip is too short? Because we sometimes do get clips that are like maybe 5 seconds long, and this entire thing is 5 seconds long. So what's the point of having the transition? So it's the text is up there for such a brief period of time you can't even read it. So I ultimately decided to stick with the simple fade in, you read, fade out. I might play around with it a bit more. Change things like the properties. You know, maybe I could, you know, shrink this down, or add a background, add more of a drop shadow to it, or add a background, you know, play around with it a bit. I have also thought about playing around with a different thing other than just a simple fade in on the opacity, and maybe try with like a motion transition to open up. I've debated it, but I kind of ran out of time to play around and experiment this week, so I haven't really gotten around to continue that wave of experimentation. But Okay. I also realized, I think last month I forgot to change the... Oh, did I? What have I done? Okay. What I need to do is this. There we go. Okay, now we go in here. She's got too much of a shadow in here. Okay, let's... Here we go. It's a classic outfit. In this clip. Go in here. Oh wait, can I just do both? I think I can just do both, yeah. It does make this faster. What do we want to do? I think I'm gonna grab like this color in her eyes. I think that will do better in terms of the overall look. Grab this. Yeah, I like that. Okay, let's try... there's a couple... It's gonna be purple, we know that, but it's which purple? Do this general purple, like this brighter one? Or we could do the darker one. Ah, that's too dark. A little lighter. No, no, no. Probably not this one, it's too bright. The hair. It's too bright. Too dark. Can't zoom in while I've got the eyedropper active. Ooh, this part might work. Wait, no, that's the building behind her. I mean, it's still close to the same color. I think... Ooh, this seems like a kind of a middle ground area. Can't really grab it. There we go. Kind of like of a middle... This is kind of like a middle ground between the lighter purple and the really dark purple. It's kind of a nice in-between. I think that'll work. I think we can make this one work. So what we'll do is we'll grab the fill and we'll, because the hair is just a little bit darker than white, and then we'll grab this and there's the really dark or the slightly lighter. Let's go with the darker. Right there. you see what I mean? This is what I'm talking about with the really short clips. You see that? See, the clip is 4 minutes. Oh, you can't see that even on the... Oh, that's weird. Maybe it's behind my head. Okay, yeah, there it is. 4 minutes, or 4 seconds, 17 frames versus 5 seconds. You see the problem there? So that's why I gave up on the idea of adding transitions to these, because it's just makes no sense on the shorter clips. No sense whatsoever. So I will say I felt like it was starting to look pretty good with the longer clips. It's too bad. Now this one is pretty obvious what we're gonna grab here. So bright though. There's the slightly. That's too dark. What if we reversed it? No, definitely not. Oof. Did not look good at all. Brighter yellow here, way too bright. Darker yellow starts around here. The golden yellow around here. Yeah, I think that'll do. That's why I reselected them, it didn't. We're gonna have we're gonna have around the same problem here. Sir, clipboard, she's a bit bigger on screen. Here we go. Maybe grab the color that's in the eyes. There's a nice deeper green right here. The darker colors just help it be easier, be more legible. Less of a chance of it clashing with the background of the clip. Now, Sylvie did make some changes. So there's some darker, I'm assuming blues. Colorblind, so obviously I'm going to assume blue unless I know it's purple. Just because I like blue. Slightly biased. Let's just grab one of these. Maybe this one, because I think the brighter one is a bit too... pops out a bit too much. You know? Like, up here, just... I don't know, it didn't feel like it blended too well. It clashed a bit too much, so this one, right. That might be too dark, though. Yeah, that'll do. Alright. Did I make the mistake of... I zoned out for a second there. I didn't... Okay, yeah, I haven't replaced any of the ones I shouldn't have yet. You know, I've been kind of worried about it. Thankfully, it hasn't happened yet, but I'm worried that one of these days I'm just gonna see one of the clips in one of these and just go, "Why on earth would you put this on your channel?" It's like, what you want from me? just grab clips from people. Yeah. One of these days. Likely bound to happen. You know, people on the internet like to find things to complain about. So it gives them purpose in life. It's not a great purpose, but they take what they can get. Double checking how long we've got in the playlist. We're still good. So I'm not worried too much about going for a full 2 hours this time. I'm just going for as long as it takes us to finish this, and then that'll be that. I'm just streaming the editing process. If the editing process ends, then, well, there you go. That's a long one. Now we'll just look through and see if there are any repeat clippers. It would appear that this person repeats a bit. This one's singular. This one's got a couple. Got to actually do the next step. Ooh, getting a bit tired. My body just suddenly decided to form a mild case of insomnia over the past few days. Not been able to fall asleep at a reasonable hour. Part of it is due to my work schedule. I need to fix things that I, adjust that to be at a bit healthier level, but I've been saying that for years now. Something is creaking like crazy under my feet. Don't know why. I try not to do too many channels that are not English speaking, largely for the fact that if somebody swears in another language, I can't tell that because obviously I don't speak that language. Where are we? Having a slight moment of brain powered off. Brain decided it was it was done functioning properly. Happening more and more lately. There was a time I was getting ready to leave for work, so I went to the kitchen to grab, my food to take to work, and I reached the fridge and I stopped because my brain just like shut off. I had no idea what I was doing, why I was at the fridge, what was going. I lost track of all thought and just like, you know, kind of like that feeling when you walk into a room and you forget why you went into that room. Yeah, I had that, but it's very specifically about my immediate actions, just like, what was I doing again? Sometimes I worry I'm gonna get dementia a little early. I'm probably not using the right one. I don't know. I'm not really that concerned about it right now. Yet, you know what I mean. I can totally see myself as like 40 or 50 years old and just having no short-term memory. I can totally see that happening. I will say though, I never really noticed it until recently. As I've been, you know, spending a little less time editing as much, I've realized that while I'm doing a lot of my editing work, I tend to enter this mental tunnel, where I completely forget about important things like water. I had a couple days where I had like maybe like 16 to 20 ounces left in the bottom of my bottle from the day before. Gotta blow my nose real quick. There it is. Okay. The green light wasn't going. Anyway, so I'll have a little bit of water left in the bottle, a little less than half, maybe about a third, and I'll start my day. Be like, I'll get a new bottle once I finished off what's left in here, because it's usually got gamer subs in it and whatnot. This is the wrong one. There we go. Went in the wrong direction. And then it'll come around time where I need to get ready to leave for work, and I'll look over and I'll be like, I didn't drink any water. So yeah, that was this week, because I was very busy getting commission stuff done over the week. But when I'm not spending all that time at the computer, I tend to be a little better with, you know, health-based habits. whatever you do, do not send that a clip of me talking about my I drank 0 water to anybody that knows me. They'll get mad at me again. It's an age-old problem, but just a bit more noticeable as I get older, and my body is not able to handle existing without hydration as well as it used to. The things you notice as you age, right? I wonder if, I mean, it's not like the Clips channel is monetized, but I'm thinking that if it were, this particular video might get demonetized just because of this first clip. That's okay. I'm thinking I'm gonna try to get more of the clips and whatnot onto other platforms, like Rumble, just to diversify. Speaking of, I recently went back and looked at the Rumble page. A couple, like one of the videos kind of went up in views. Most of them are still at 1. Kind of hoping that over a period of time people would start uploading more and more kinds of content on there so that it would diversify things a bit, but hasn't been happening at a high enough rate just yet. Maybe someday. I've noticed that a lot of those other alternative platforms don't seem to either exist or just aren't talked about as much. It seems like lately the platforms people talk about the most are ones where you can be about as degenerate as humanly possible, like Kick and Fansly. If I had to pick between those two, sure, I would pick Kick any day of the week. I would not go near Fansly with a 10-foot pole. Not happening. Don't care who streams on there, I ain't going anywhere near that. Nope, 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 nope. My left hand is starting to cramp I've had my fingers sitting on the control key and the C and V key for just copying and pasting for the past like 20 minutes. The fingers are stiff. Ow. Okay, let's just double check where we're at here. Done, done. This one needs to be done for 8. Done and done. I think this is the last one. Forgetting the clipper name. Oops. I used to debate whether or not I wanted to get another webcam to get like a doggy cam. So you can, you know, the view of my dog sleeping on my bed behind me while I'm streaming. Ultimately ended up not doing it because I stopped streaming as often. But thinking about it again, as I'm watching my dog go back and forth from one end of the bed to the other, I'm just like, you know, maybe that's not, maybe that wouldn't have worked out anyway. I don't think the camera would, nor would I want it to cover the entirety of my bed, the entire length of it. So I'd have to constantly be moving it back and forth as she moves from one end to the other, as her naturally high body heat warms up one end of the bed, so she'll move over to the other side that's cooler. Go back to sleep. Definitely can't call her a puppy anymore. She's getting older. Oops. No, it was just the so short I did. Anyway. Alright. One more. Kind of fun to see some of the... Oh, she wants to go upstairs. I think somebody's making food. She heard the noises of food preparation and wants to go get people's food. Alright. Okay. This month, I think I got quite a few people who actually watch and clip the same streamers. Because there's a few of these that share the same, where the same people are clipping across multiple of the channels in the compilations. I really do hope people like these videos because I enjoy making them. And it's definitely been a lifesaver in this period of time where I can't spend as much time editing. Reorganizing. Looking for a new full-time job out there somewhere at a period of time where the job market is actively collapsing. Yeah. Good times. Good times. We're nearing the end here. Somehow I don't think this will take long enough to reach an hour and 40 minutes. Oh, the dog's back. Must not have found enough interesting things up there to stay up there. Wants to be back to laying down on my bed. Hold on. Let me get her. I recently got some risers on the bottom of my to raise up my bed a bit so I can get more storage under there. So it's 2 inches taller than it used to be, which means my dog definitely cannot get up on the bed by herself anymore. She was starting to struggle with it before anyway, but now it's definitely an impossibility. Even in her younger years, she would not be able to make it up that high. I'm sure Amazon absolutely adores me right now as I'm buying stuff for storage and I'm buying stuff to do handyman projects myself and whatnot. Alright. Done. I guess one more thing we can do is do an early setup of the stuff for running it on, setting up the video descriptions. That could probably save me some time. I've just got got this pulled up. I'm just copying and pasting between the two. I've just got it over on the other monitor. so that I can do it without having to go back and forth on them. People are getting really bold with the clip titles these days. Good grief. Also, this is really cool that she's got a mod for her appearance in Wind Waker. That's pretty cool. I wonder if my mic's loud enough to pick up my stomach starting to let me know that it's been a little while since I last consumed food. Not like horribly long, an adequate amount of time. Yeah, it's been about the appropriate 6 hours. probably just end off with this third one. Or my stomach gets too upset. I don't know. We'll see how things are going when I'm done with this one. This one's a weird one. It took us 4 clips to get above the first minute. You know, I'm thinking I should probably just, you know, not let YouTube get really mad at me. We haven't yet reached the end of the playlist, so we're doing pretty good. Still on time there. I forgot to grab the title of that last clip. Okay. Another one that took a good while to reach the first minute. Happening a lot more, it seems. Getting more and more short clips at the start. And maybe that's for the best. Might help with the low viewer retention. All right, the last one. and then it'll just be working on getting the audio levels right and working out the background music and figuring out any and all places where to remove swearing. Depending on the VTuber, could be either one of the easier parts or one of the harder parts. Depends on how much they swear. Good grief, this one's 9 minutes long. I'm pretty sure this one is just shattered records because we're nearing the point where the only way for something to be longer is if each clip is a full possible minute. That's crazy. Sylvie clearly has some very dedicated clippers. All right. Well, that's done. Oh, look at that! We almost made it to the full 2 hours. Oh. Oh, man. All right, well. Time to rage somebody. I've got a pretty good idea who. Since a few people I know started streaming not too long ago. Oh, and it looks like at least a couple of them might be a collab. Yep, a couple of them are a collab. Cool. So we'll do that. Okay. We are rating our old friend Melkor. Hello, VV fan. Alrighty, well. As always, thank you everybody for coming by. I appreciate it. Hope you had a good time hanging out and just having this in the background. Melkor's in a collab playing some repo, so have some fun with that. But until next time, hope y'all have a good one, and I hope to see you all again another time. Bye-bye.